everyone, welcome back to Wonderland con Alexandra. If you're new here, welcome, and my name is Alexandra, if you hadn't guessed that already. I'm just going to take one pause for 1 second para mis listeners que me escuchen normalmente en español y que estén acá pensando qué putas está pasando acá y por qué está hablando ella en inglés. Van a tener dos opciones. Primero, pueden quedarse acá conmigo y me pueden escuchar, pueden leer los subtítulos en español para que me puedan seguir y puedan entender. O puedes esperar 2 días cuando salga la traducción de este capítulo para que lo escuches en español. So it's entirely up to you. Hi, I'm back. Just leaving a note, let's say, for my listeners in English, because get a note, yeah, whatever, you understood. Letting my listeners know in Spanish that they have the option of either staying here with me and learning English, or they can listen in a couple of days. I felt like it was super important for me to get this out in English or to record this episode in English. It was time for me to connect to my listeners in a different way, and also it is a Spanglish podcast, so it's about including absolutely everybody, and it's about teaching absolutely everybody who wants to listen and who wants to be part of this journey with me. I understand, of course, that this content isn't always for everyone, and I understand that it might not resonate, or that you might be listening and you hear something that you don't like or that you don't agree with, and that's completely okay. I mean, it's like I said, it's not for everybody. I just hope that if you find it, when you find it, that I know that it's because you're going to connect to it authentically, and it's time for you to listen to the message that the universe is kind of trying to channel through me. And I'm here to inspire, to help heal, to help grow, to help give you purpose. And so I'm here with all of like my energy, feeling super great, excited, etc. And I wish to just continue being part of your life, of your purpose. So I find it kind of pretty incredible that when you're trying to do something, or let's say in my case, I planned to film today because the energy of today's date resonated with me, connected with it, and I knew that it was going to be amazing. And to confirm that, crazily, during my lunch hour today, I was reading in a small green area that there is close to my work office, and it's where I get a respite, not so much from work, let's say, but I love sitting on the grass, touching it, taking my shoes off, kind of breathing air, fresh air of trees. And actually, they say that if you spend 15 minutes, just 15 minutes alone, like next to a tree, that your whole respiratory system is actually going to restart because you're filling your lungs with completely fresh air. So it resets your whole system. So it's where I like to go to read and to organize kind of like my thoughts, whatever. And so I was there, and very close to the ending of my lunch, a girl approaches me, and I had my headphones in, so I take them out, and she says to me, "Oh, like, can you help me by any chance? Like, I'm looking for a bookstore recommendation." I hear that she has an accent straight away, and so I say to her, I was like, "Hey, where are you visiting from?" She says, "Oh, I'm from Austin, Texas. And yeah, just I'd like to know if you have any bookstore recommendations." So I welcome her to London, of course. Ask her lots of questions, kind of what she's doing. how long she's staying for. And so I then proceed to ask her, what type of bookstore are you looking for? Are you looking for like, you know, a massive 5-floor Waterstone type of bookstore? Or are you looking for like the magical Harry Potter type of bookstores? She lit up instantly and said definitely the Harry Potter type. She complimented me. She said that I looked friendly and saw me reading my book. So I looked like the type of person who kind of knew where I could recommend. And so there was somewhere close by to where we were in that moment. And there's a bookstore in Brick Lane for anyone who's like looking for really kind of cutesy and magical type of bookstore. It's called the Brick Lane Bookstore in London. So during that conversation, it then like developed a lot more, and we went really deep. We started talking about like our histories, and like we've practically got to know each other in the space of, I want to say 20 to 25 minutes, and I overran my lunch as well. But we connected so much that it felt like a moment frozen in time. I can't even begin to explain it. Like, it almost felt like it wasn't real. And I can feel myself tingling kind of like as I'm remembering this, because it felt like an angel was visiting me, like someone between worlds. And I'm so connected to myself in this moment and connected to the universe. I've already prayed and meditated for the strength and for the confidence to be able to get through kind of filming. And not, okay, I don't want to say get through, because it's not like I'm forcing myself to do this. I'm obviously not. But it still comes with its challenges and with all of its things. So I do get a little bit nervous from my excitement. So I'm she's this angel appears and is just talking to me, and I tell her, she asks me what plans I have for the evening, just kind of chit chat. And I say to her, well, actually, I'm kind of filming my podcast episode. I've got a passion project. She asks me, oh my gosh, what is it about? We start getting into the topic, and she tells me that she is a Christian and that she is a follower of Jesus. So I say to her, that's absolutely amazing. Like, tell me, I want to know your story. And we start having this conversation, and it felt like a moment frozen in time. And I said to her that, you know, I was so grateful for her in that moment, that it was so great to connect, that I wish I didn't have to go. She says that it was the interaction was the same the other way around. We were exchanging Instagrams and life stories and managed to cram absolutely everything into this tiny conversation. And as we're saying goodbye, she asks me if she can pray for me and pray over me. I was absolutely astonished with this request, because instantly my answer was, of course, yes. It felt like God and the universe sent me an angel. And I'm thinking back on this interaction, and it was so incredible that I carried it with me, and I had to make it part of this story today, because it wasn't until I then got back into the office and I looked at her name, like, you know, when you're having interaction sometimes with people and it's so by the by that you're there, you're not, you're so entranced. I was so entranced by this moment that I hadn't actually fully grasped her name, and her name is Faith. And so, Faith, if you're listening to this right now, you are an angel that was sent. And oh, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me what I needed. And everything that you said to me was so beautiful. And I hope that in return, I was able to offer you peace, advice, and things that you're going to be able to take with you on your journey. And you've made a massive impact on me today. So now with that, it's crazy. The universe sends you angels when you need them at the time, and they appear in all sorts of forms, and in symbols, and you just have to be paying attention. This whole way during the process of starting this podcast, I have been sent angels from God and from the universe who have actually held my hand and been able to carry me through every moment that I have been in. So thank you to all of those amazing angels that the universe has sent to me, and you all know who you are. Just as the universe is always sending us amazing signs, angels, symbols, anything that you want to call it, and it sends them to you so long as you're listening. And I will actually speak in more detail about that another time. This was a moment for me to, of course, pay attention to, and so the universe also sends us challenges. It sends us obstacles, it sends us mountains, it sends us a lot of things that we need to overcome. And it's what we do with that matters, because we know that after every storm there's going to be a clear sky, there's going to be sunshine, there's going to be a rainbow. But it's what you do to weather the storm, and it's how you approach it, it's what you learn from it. And so I'm learning my lessons slowly. The more episodes that I do, or the more that I put myself in a position that is challenging for me, and I'm learning all of these things about myself still, because I'm constantly looking inwards. And this is what we start to do when we are getting to know ourselves. So if you might be able to recall, if you watched or listened to my last episode, I spoke to you all in a lot of detail about who I am, because for me, when I had to ask myself who I am, I listed everything that had meaning and significance and value. And so it all opened up like spider webs, and having to give all of my rhyme and reasons. And if I hadn't gotten completely lost, I wouldn't have been able to come out into that, and find myself, and get to know myself, love myself. And so as long as we're looking inwards and recognizing this, it brings us closer to who we are. So who are you? Have you ever taken the time or the moment to really go inwards and ask yourself, who am I? You might say, okay, so in this case, I'm going to think of a really random name. You're going to say my name is Bob. That name always makes me laugh. And if your name is Bob, I'm so sorry. But why? But just why do? I'm sorry. Why is your name Bob? And I know that sometimes it derives from Robert, and Robert is great. But Bob, it just sounds hilarious. Okay, so. So your name is Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. We're gonna stick with it. There's just some names that are very funny. Bob, I'm really sorry for all of this. So your name is Justin. And you say, well, my name is Justin. Well, actually, that's just your name. There are thousands and millions of men, guys named Justin. Shout out to Justin Bieber. He's been the love of my life since forever. So there are a lot of Justins, and he's the most special one, of course. But you know, your identity doesn't remain in your name. So then you say, oh, okay, well, my mum's name is Nicole. I'm Nicole's daughter. You're basing your identity. You're Nicole's son, not daughter. Justin, you're not transgender in this story. Still happy Pride Month, because we're talking about Justin Bieber. You're basing your identity based on whose children you are. So again, you're not actually getting into deeper questions, and you're going to start listing everything that is around you and basing your identity and who you are on what your thoughts are, on what your feelings are, on things that make you you, like your stature or how much money you have or what your job is. These are factors of what makes us who we are. But again, we're trying to get into deeper levels of that, like who is the person that is standing in between or sitting or there in between the person observing, the person that's feeling, the physical body of the person, the thoughts, what comes out. And we're trying to peel that back completely to all of those layers of what you're actually seeing. And it's all a 3D experience. It's all mirrors of what we are living on this parallel, on this 3D earthly plane. It's all material. This is all a material, physical 3D experience. And there is a soul that is inside of us, and there is a conscious that has awareness. And so when you're trying to ask yourself, who am I? Or what is behind this? Who is the voice in my head? It's you, but it's your conscious awareness. So peeling back all of these layers and truly asking yourself why you like certain things, why you dislike them, just starting kind of from those 2 points, you start to pull out what your values are, what your principles are, and how you value yourself as well. And the more that you get to know yourself, the more that you're going to find self-acceptance, the more that you're going to find self-growth, self-mastery, self-love. There is an incredible quote that I read in a book that resonates so much with this. And actually, it's something that a great Indian yoga teacher taught. His name is Raman Mashani, and he said that in yoga tradition, they used to say that to attain inner freedom, one must continuously and sincerely ask the question, who am I? And so when we do this, we are connecting more to ourselves. And as I shared before in one of my in my last video, when I started doing yoga, it connected me to myself. And everything that I read and everything that I continue to learn, it also reaffirms so many of my beliefs and so many things that I have picked up along the way, almost like they were always there. And since I started my journey, everything has been a remembrance, because I'm going back to myself, going back to who I might have been in my previous lives, and my soul is still here, continuously evolving and fulfilling kind of its mission in this current life. And for me, it's incredible that I'm here in this moment, because the mission for my soul's life in this lifetime is for me to overcome my fears of speaking out, for speaking up, for publicly addressing multiple people, something along those lines, because my voice grows really small when I have to address a public room. For someone who is really confident and who is really goddamn loud, I become so small, like a mouse. And I have a feeling that has something to do with one of my past lives, in the sense that perhaps I might have been silenced for speaking up. And by silenced, I mean, right? Perhaps I was, one of the witches in Salem or something, and I wasn't able to help people. I wasn't able to spread awareness, spread a message. And so when it comes to speaking about things that are so important, I shut down and I self-sabotage. I have been pausing and starting and pausing and starting and self-sabotaging this entire episode, because I do continue to doubt myself. It's hard doing this sometimes, and sometimes addressing the elephant in the room is what helps you overcome it. Shout out to The Mountain Is You by Brianne West. I mentioned it the last time, but it's what kind of comes back into my mind every time that I remember that I'm self-sabotaging. I think to myself, the mountain is you. And so I have, let's say, mental cues or little things that reassure me, reaffirm me, but they bring me closer to my purpose or to what I'm doing in that moment. And so we only learn these things when we get to know ourselves, when we sit with ourselves. I've had to do this a multiple amount of times. Over all of my years, I think I've restarted, and restarted and restarted, and I have pulled versions of me into each one, and I can feel myself transcending. And so this all starts with you identifying the things that are of importance. Once you do it, it leads you closer to your purpose. It leads you closer to what you want to do. And until you're not living your life with self-awareness, and it's across absolutely everything, how you're doing at work, how you are with your friendship groups, how you are with your family members, how you treat others. These are the things, the important things, how you treat people, that are going to be carried along with you for your whole life. And you might be a person who cares about what others think, and you might be a person who doesn't. I personally want to be known as a person who is kind and who is lovely and who spreads light, because I feel like I am just a fairy sometimes, just sprinkling fairy dust. That's how I envision myself. And I'm super proud of that. But that's something that I value. And so it's what I'd like to leave behind when I'm no longer here, or if I'm not around. Those are the types of things that I want people to say about me. And so what do you want people to say about you, because of the value that you hold for yourself, not because you care about other people's opinions? So we have to think about those things. And if you're living your life closer to who you truly want to be. So I invite you to ask yourselves once more, who am I? And what does that mean to you? What do you find at the end of those questions? And once you start finding the answers, you are going to feel so much more inspired. You're going to have so much more hope, so much more faith, and you're going to find that excitement for life again. Because just as who you are is inside of you, so is your happiness. So the more we peel those layers behind, the more we go deeper and deeper and deeper in, you will find every answer that you have ever been looking for. And you will grow in more self-mastery, growth, healing, and most importantly, self-love. So who are you, and are you happy with who you are? Thank you so much for sitting with me, and for being here until this moment. The support has been incredible, and it inspires me and motivates me so much more each time. Every time I get a message, every time I get an interaction, it fulfills what I am working for, what I'm working towards, and that is to leave you all feeling more whole and feeling good about yourselves, um, as I continue to strip back and laugh and say silly things and find myself. And I clearly get stuck in English the same way I do in Spanish. So I'm glad to see it's not just a language barrier thing. But I'm going and I'm continuing to challenge myself. Oh, no. Thank you. If you have any thoughts on this episode, any comments, any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm grateful to hear from all of you. Thank you, and until next time, see you.